Greetings, intrepid adventurers and master storytellers. I'm Dr. Ben. Welcome to RPG PhD. Today we're tackling a topic that can make or break your game sessions. How to narrate combat in a way that's fast, fun, engaging, and most importantly, keeps your players deep in roleplay rather than just roleplay. So grab your weapons of choice and let's dive into the art of dynamic combat narration. First and foremost, breathe life into your combat scenarios with vivid descriptions. Paint a picture of the surroundings. Is it a misty forest, a dimly lit dungeon corridor, or a bustling city street? Describe not just what the players see, but also what they hear, smell, and feel. This sensory approach helps players immerse themselves in the scene, keeping them engaged and in character. The dragon's roar thunders through the valley, its fiery breath casting a terrifying yet awe-inspiring glow over the battlefield. To truly captivate your players, description should be more than just a visual picture. It should evoke a sense of atmosphere and emotion, pulling the players right into the heart of the battle. Imagine a clash in an ancient crumbling ruin. Instead of simply stating the location, paint a picture of ivory-clad walls, the echo of clashing steel resonating through broken arches, the dust and debris that rises with each impact. Describe the light filtering through the cracks, casting long, ominous shadows. This level of detail helps players feel the weight and history of their surroundings, adding gravity to their combat choices. And these don't need to be long and overdone. They can be short, evocative, and only single sentences. This also keeps the action moving and the narrative-driven combat focused. Amid the ancient ruins, the mage's incantation illuminates the crumbling walls, casting long shadows that dance with each burst of magical energy. But vivid descriptions aren't limited to the environment. They also extend to the combat itself. Describe the guttural roars of the beasts, the chilling ring of metal on metal, the desperate shouts of allies, and the triumphant cries or painful groans of the fallen. Give life to each swing, parry, and spell. For instance, when a fireball spell is cast, talk about the searing heat, the blinding flash of light, and the smell of singed hair and burnt armor. This makes every action in combat feel impactful and dramatic. The rogue's dagger finds a weak spot, slipping between ribs with a wet, squelching sound as a dark stain spreads across the victim's tunic. Don't forget the sensory reactions of the characters involved. Describe the adrenaline rush a fighter feels as they dodge a lethal strike, the shockwave a cleric senses from a powerful divine intervention, or the eerie cold a warlock experiences when summoning eldritch energies. These details keep players connected more deeply with their characters, understanding not just what they're doing, but what they're feeling and experiencing in those heightened moments. A warlock's eldritch blast strikes with a force that leaves the enemy grasping, their skin marred by pulsating dark veins creeping from the impact site. And finally, use vivid descriptions to set the pace and tone of the combat. Fast, sharp descriptions can convey the urgency and chaos of a skirmish, while slower, more detailed descriptions might be used for dramatic duels or pivotal moments. This pacing helps keep the players engaged, ensuring that combat maintains its energy and excitement. An arrow whistles sharply, embedding itself deeply into the enemy's thigh, eliciting a guttural scream. Or the clashing of steel on the icy tundra sends chilling echoes with each warrior's breath visible in the frigid air. Incorporating this level of detail in your combat narration transforms a routine encounter into a memorable and engaging story moment. It's not just about rolling dice and calculating damage, it's about creating an immersive experience that will leave your players on the edge of their seats. Also, encourage descriptive action from the players. When a player declares an attack, nudge them to describe how they do it. Instead of just saying, "I attack with my sword," they might say, "I feint to the left," and then swing my sword in a wide arc at the orc's head. This not only makes combat more interesting, but also keeps the players in their characters' shoes, thinking like them, acting like them. If you have trouble coming up with vivid combat descriptions on the fly, there are tons of GM tools available that have vivid descriptions pre-written for you to utilize. Every character is unique, so their combat style should be too. Encourage your players to add personal flair to their actions. For example, a swashbuckling rogue might attack with acrobatic finesse, while a battle-hardened warrior strikes with brute force. These personal touches keep players thinking about how their characters would act, not just about what attack to roll. This is where the uniqueness of each character really shines through, transforming standard attacks and defenses into moments of storytelling and individual expression. Consider a rogue with a flair for the dramatic. Every attack is not just a swing of a dagger, it's an acrobatic display, a dance of death. Narrate how the rogue flips over an enemy, leaving a mark with a sly grin, or how they use their surroundings to outmaneuver opponents. This not only highlights the character's skills, but also their personality and background. Or take a wizard whose specialty lies in elemental magic. Their casting could be described as a symphony of the elements. When they cast a fire spell, narrate the gathering of the heat, the sparks flicking around their fingertips, and the explosive release of energy. Their mastery of magic should feel like an extension of their being, an expression of their arcane knowledge. Again, encourage players to describe their own actions as well. A paladin might call upon their deity with each strike, their weapon glowing with divine energy, or a bard might weave insults into their attacks, using words as weapons just as effectively as their rapier. These personal touches make each character's role in combat distinct and memorable. Character flair in combat also extends to how they react to hits or misses. A stoic fighter might barely flinch at a wound, a testament to their grit and endurance, while a more flamboyant character might react dramatically to every scrape, adding a layer of humor or drama to the encounter. Incorporating character flair is not just about embellishing actions, it's about reinforcing who these characters are in the midst of battle. It allows players to stay deeply connected to their characters and their role-playing even as they roll for attacks and damage. As a game master, facilitate and encourage this level of engagement. The key to keeping combat exciting is maintaining the correct pace. Simplify complex mechanics where possible and keep the action flowing. Consider using group initiative or summarizing the movements of minor enemies to speed up the process. It may seem a contradiction to talk about speeding up mechanics in a video about dynamic combat narration, but here's the thing. If you're trying to focus more on the narrative aspects and not the mechanical aspects, de-emphasizing these combat mechanics can actually help make time and space for dynamic narration. The less time spent on mechanics, the more that can be spent on the narrative and roleplay. The essence here is to keep the adrenaline high and the action flowing without getting bogged down in complex rules and lengthy turns. Fast-paced mechanics ensure that the thrill of battle remains front and center, keeping players engaged and on their toes. One effective method is to streamline initiative. Instead of a detailed order, group enemies together or use a side-based approach, all players act and all NPCs. This simplifies the process and speeds up the game. It also encourages teamwork among players as they plan their combined strategies for each round. Another technique is to set time limits on turns. Using a timer can add a sense of urgency and excitement. Give players a specific time to declare their actions, maybe 30 seconds or so. This not only speeds up the game, but also adds an element of pressure that can lead to some spontaneous and exciting moments. Consider also simplifying enemy stats and actions. Not every foe needs a full character sheet. Use average damage for attacks to avoid rolling too many dice, and have similar enemies act in unison to reduce the number of separate moves. The goal is to maintain challenge and strategy without slowing down the pace. Encouraging quick decision-making. While it's important for players to strategize, endless deliberation can stall combat. Foster an environment where quick thinking and gut decisions are part of the fun. This can lead to dynamic, sometimes unpredictable combat scenarios that keep everyone engaged. Combat is not just a physical confrontation, it's an emotional and tactical game. Describe not only the physical impact of attacks, but also the emotional and tactical reactions of both the attackers and defenders. A successful strike might cause fear or anger in an enemy, while a near miss could prompt a quick strategic retreat or a change in tactics. These reactions can profoundly influence the course of battle, providing depth and realism to your encounters. It's not just about hitting and being hit, it's about how characters and NPCs feel and react strategically to each development on the battlefield. Imagine a scenario where a character is cornered by a formidable enemy. Instead of simply rolling for defense, narrate their rising panic or determination, or have the player narrate it. How does this fear or resolve affect their decisions? Maybe it leads them to a daring escape maneuver, or causes them to fight with unexpected ferocity. These emotional responses can dramatically alter the tactics of a battle, making each encounter unique and character-driven. On the flip side, consider how NPCs react to the player's actions. A villain might grow visibly frustrated and reckless as their plans unravel, altering their tactics. They might retreat, call for reinforcements, or resort to a desperate final attack. These tactical shifts, fueled by emotional responses, add an exciting layer of unpredictability to combat. Don't forget the dynamics within the party. How do characters react to the injury of a comrade? Does it spur them to a protective rage, or does it shake their morale? These moments are opportunities for roleplay right in the middle of combat, reinforcing the bond between characters and adding a personal stake to the fight. Also, consider the aftermath of each combat round. Narrate not just the physical, but also the psychological impact of the battle. Describe the exhaustion, relief, or even the sorrow that follows a hard-fought victory or a narrow escape. This helps transition from combat back into narrative play, maintaining the continuity of the story. Remember, dialogue isn't just for peaceful interactions. Encourage your players to talk to their enemies, negotiate, intimidate, or even make split-second alliances. This keeps the roleplay alive even in the midst of combat and can lead to unexpected and memorable outcomes. Often we focus so much on the mechanics of fighting that we forget the narrative potential within these moments. Engaging in dialogue and interaction during combat can transform a simple clash of swords into a rich, story-driven experience. Picture a scenario where your characters aren't just swinging weapons, they're also engaging in verbal sparring. A paladin might challenge an enemy's honor, a rogue might taunt their foes to distract them, or a mage might try to negotiate mid-battle. These exchanges add layers to the combat, revealing character traits and potentially altering the course of the encounter. Dialogue can also be used to gain tactical advantages. Perhaps your party's bard uses their words to sow discord among the enemy ranks, or a cleverly delivered threat causes an opponent to hesitate. These moments of interaction can open up new strategic possibilities, making combat more than just dice rolls. Don't overlook the power of negotiation and diplomacy even in the midst of combat. There might be opportunities to parlay, to offer or extract concessions, or even to turn enemies into allies. These interactions can lead to surprising turns in the narrative, allowing for resolutions that might not involve outright victory or defeat. Additionally, interaction isn't limited to just between characters and enemies. Encourage your players to communicate with each other during combat, making plans, calling out warnings, or even offering in-character encouragement. This not only enhances the group dynamic, but also keeps everyone engaged in the narrative aspect of the game. Remember, combat in RPGs is an opportunity for storytelling. By incorporating dialogue and interaction, you give depth to these encounters, turning them into pivotal narrative moments that can define your characters and their journey. Finally, don't let the story stop when the combat ends. Narrate the aftermath. Describe the scene as the dust settles, how the characters feel, and what their immediate reactions are. This helps transition smoothly back into the broader narrative and keeps the role-playing going. The end of a battle is more than just tallying experience points and looting. It's an essential phase for storytelling. Think of the immediate aftermath of combat. Your characters are catching their breath, tending their wounds, reflecting on close calls. Describe these moments in detail. How does the air smell of iron and sweat? Is there a palpable sense of relief or perhaps a somber mood over what just transpired? These descriptions help cement the reality of the battle and its impact on the characters. Use this time to explore your character's emotional responses. A character might feel exhilarated, another deeply troubled by the violence. Some might question their decisions or the morality of their actions. These reflections can lead to meaningful character growth and interactions, deepening the role-playing experience. Combat is also an opportunity to advance the plot. Perhaps the enemy dropped a cryptic note, a map to an unknown location, or a mysterious artifact. How do the characters react to these discoveries? What decisions do they make about their next steps? This can be a natural segue back into the adventure, keeping the story momentum going. Consider also the broader implications of the battle. How does it affect the world around them? Does it change the political landscape, shift the balance of power, or alter the perception of the characters in the eyes of others? These consequences can set the stage for future adventures and conflicts. Lastly, don't rush through this phase. Give your players the space to roleplay these moments, to interact with each other and the world. It's a chance to breathe life into their characters, making them more than just combatants, but real people living in a dynamic, responsive world. Combat in RPGs can be so much more than a series of dice rolls and damage counts. With vivid narration, character-driven actions, and a focus on keeping the story alive, combat becomes an integral part of the narrative journey. What techniques do you use for narrating combat? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Stay tuned to RPG PhD for more tips and tricks to elevate your gaming session. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, may your battles be vividly described. Thanks for watching. See you next time.